Hmm.
I see Adria's got her actual manual volume that she just put out there.
I did.
Was it David Hawkins who talks about the guy who wrote is it David Hawkins? It is, isn't it? Who
About
wrote
what?
Yes.
um about
This force?
frequency.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
power of
David.
force, yeah. And he
Yeah, yeah.
talks about the actual vibrational impact of books.
Yep. I just read an article recently about the vibrational impact of clothing on your skin
Oh,
and how
Mm.
if you're wearing synthetic polyesters and things like that, that you are actually damaging your health.
wow.
I know, and I
Mm.
thought, oh my God, you know. But I think it's probably true. Yes, Joe, you're right. They suggested linen, bamboo, organic cotton, and
Mhm.
that was about
Hemp,
it.
would
That's
it,
what they
hemp?
suggested. Hemp, yes, hemp as well.
Mm,
But bamboo is amazing. So
Mm.
we
it
can
does
buy
feel
bamboo
amazing.
clothing. I've been switching. Yeah, that's probably a really good thing. Because I
Mm,
think there's so many environmental stuff going on that I never thought to think about all the plastics in our polyester and how that's always against our skin, and our skin is the largest organ of absorption that there is. So it would just make sense to me that you'd be absorbing chemical toxins into your body. So
mm,
I'm doing my best to put away polyester anything.
yes. Well, I'd say let's just not wear anything, but it's a bit cold down here for that.
You
I
saucy little minx, you.
Yeah, I don't think I could get away with that anymore. I used to be a big fan of the natural state, not anymore.
Okay, how did we go with our lessons this week?
I was
Oh,
terrible.
Tigger.
Yeah, I was terrible.
Yeah.
I think I was so absorbed in all the things going on around me that I just, as of course, that's when I should have been more focused, but I don't think I was very focused this week.
Mm.
So I'll bow
What was
down
it?
from, I can't remember. That's how bad it is.
We'll
So
let
I've
you off
got
this
no, oh, good, good.
week. No, we'll let you off anyway, really. This isn't a test. It's a journey.
It sure
Mm,
is.
Yeah, Joe had trouble focusing on his. You guys have a lot going on over there in the US, so
Yeah, there's a
it's a
lot
good
of stuff
test.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is.
Mine was love of self creates self healing and is required before any healing can be shared outward.
Mm,
Mm.
And I did some journaling and it was fabulous. I did some healing on my whole journey, like, being an accountant and having coming from extremely poor family, but my dad always encouraged me to learn and, get an education to be the only one who's actually got a degree. And then to go through the whole corporate thing where I was increasingly making more money and buying investments and buying houses and stuff. And now I don't have any real estate. I have a few small investments and I'm so happy.
yeah, I'm getting there, Veronica. I'm
And
getting
life is
there.
so much less complicated. So, but at the same time, in order for me to tell my clients how to make money or how to create wealth for themselves, I do kind of still need to be on that journey. So it's a balancing act. And I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm actually going to be more balanced about that and create more wealth for myself as well and still be
Awesome.
happy.
Most important form of wealth.
Yes, yes, because when I was probably at my highest net wealth, I was probably the unhappiest I've ever been. Yeah.
I have yet to
Oh,
meet
yeah.
a wealthy person, really wealthy person, who is happy.
Mm.
I've not ever met a really wealthy person who feels free and happy. They generally feel bound by their expectations and bound by their personal significance and bound by their shiny objects and
Mm.
possessions.
Well, I
So,
have a few
yeah,
clients who actually are creating a lot of wealth for themselves, and I've seen them on the journey, and they're out there doing good.
that is when a wealthy person gets happy.
Yes.
That's when they get happy. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only
Yeah,
time I've ever seen wealthy people get happy is when they're giving it out.
absolutely. Mm.
That's what I think money and making wealth ought to be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about accumulating for the sake of accumulating. It's about sharing. It's about flow.
Yeah, it
We
is all
certainly
about.
can't take it with us. We don't have any pockets, do we?
That's
We came
right.
into the world naked and out we go the
Yep,
same way.
absolutely.
That's why
A
I'm
little
not wealthy
flabbier,
because I
but we
keep
go
giving
that
it
way.
away.
Well, that's the objective, darling.
Now, I have to say, I recently heard from an old boyfriend of mine from when I was in my 20s, and he was the CEO of a large corporation in the United States, and he's retired now from a $24 million a year job, um, and he is doing the most wonderful work in his communities, outreach. I mean, he does a lot, and I wouldn't. What I would say he's content, fairly content. He's grateful, but he, I know he feels burdened to give back, and I use the word burden because he almost works on it like it's his job. And and I think it's, he didn't come from humble beginnings, but he came from average beginnings, and it's I always got the feeling that maybe he didn't feel worthy in a
Mm.
sense. And so I he still puts in a lot of hours. So I don't know what to think of that. I guess maybe there's nothing to think about it, but it makes me pause. They're in a different realm, those multi-million-dollar people, and the way they express it is interesting to take a look at.
Mm.
So he's still not happy with himself, and now he's obliged to give back.
It's not that he's not happy with himself. Um, he's still he's still striving. He's in a
Mm.
striving um, lane. Now he's got to strive to give back, and he works hard at it. It's like, okay, um, I just don't know what to make of it. But he's not unhappy. It's
Maybe
Okay.
he likes working hard. Does he
Yeah.
like working? Because when I'm
he
excited about something, I go like a beast. I just get so turned on and excited by what I'm doing that I just keep going. And then
right,
a couple of
right.
days later, I go, man, I'm tired. I don't know.
hmm Yeah, I just feel like it's somewhat of a burden, in
Hmm.
that he, I guess he's almost like he takes on the world.
Mm.
He take kind of a thing. He's
Hmm.
very serious about it. I think too serious. It's like, do you ever just like laugh and crack up and and just hold your belly and go ahead, wet your pants. You're laughing so hard, but it's like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. So it again, it's just interesting.
That's his journey.
Who else would like to share?
I would.
Okay. Andrea?
I, I'm not using the one of last week because I found one today that is not in this beautiful book, but it's something that it affected me so deeply that I want to sharpen or change the lens of my vision. We cannot do great things. We can do small things with great love.
Mm.
Mother Teresa. And I think I have trapped myself in a feeling of if I do something, the expectation has to be this way. It has to be big or it has to be, I don't know, extraordinary in some way. And the other day I was singing to the trees and they were listening. And I thought I was by myself. And I finished Blue Bayou. And all of a sudden I hear clapping. I turn around and it's the troublemaker of the building. And she's wiping her face and going, "Oh my God, do you know how beautiful you are? Do you know what you do to my heart? You're the only person who makes me cry. Oh, Audrea, thank you, thank you. I just don't know what to even to say to you." And she's just sobbing her eyes out. And I was stunned because I really thought no one was there. And I said to her, "Jean, thank you for this moment." I said, "Because even when I am not consciously trying to give of love and understanding and beauty, it happens anyway. And you've just taught me an incredible lesson
Hmm.
that I was worried about achieving my mission and achieving my person, my purpose, when I have been doing it every day of my life, whether I knew it or not." So when I read this quote, it just that cements what I'm understanding right now that I didn't understand before. I don't know that I was striving for something that I wasn't when you're already that and you're so much that you can't see it. Because you're saying, "I can't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah,
So it's
Mm.
waking up,
Yeah.
waking up.
I think
And
that's really
the
beautiful.
small things are they're amazing, especially when you don't try to do anything, when you have the courage just to be.
Beautiful.
So,
I love that.
to be able to express it to you all really does something for my heart. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very
Can we
welcome.
hear a couple of bars of Blue Bayou?
Anytime you want. Anytime you want. I'll sing to you guys anytime. I'm not kidding. Of course I will.
Going back someday, come what may to Blue
On
Bayou.
Blue Bayou. And I'd only sung it twice in my life because I'd never tried to sing it before. Fabulous. It's a great song, and it's much deeper than I thought it was.
Linda Rodstead does it so beautifully.
Oh.
I'm working with her track. Yeah, and it's really fun. When you have a karaoke track that is the style that she did it.
I heard something, not to pivot, but I heard something during the week that I thought was really, really powerful. I was
Mhm.
watching on YouTube because once in a while I'm just like, oh my God, I can't focus one more minute. I have
Yes.
to distract. And,
Yes.
and I'll look at a few videos on YouTube. And I came across this video. And I've seen this guy before, but I don't know what his name is. And so I can't give him credit for this. But he was being asked in a podcast, a podcaster who was a very young guy said, what is the most important thing that that was ever shared with you? And
Hmm.
he didn't even think for a moment. And he said, it's three words. And he said these three words appear in the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, the Adi Granth Sahib of the Sikhs.
Wow.
In Native American traditions, it is in every faith, and Buddhism, it's said in every faith and in every holy book around the world. So I'm curious, of course. And and then he said, here are the three words. Do, wait, no, that's four words. Be not afraid.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that.
Ah,
Be not afraid.
afraid.
And when I heard that, that's what got me over the hump, by the way, V, is when I read that, I was like, holy moly, like my deepest wound is showing up, and I required to get into the state that I know that I require to be into. And then I came across that video and I was like, well, of course. Like, well, of course. And it was
Wow.
so beautiful. So I wanted to share that with you guys because, there are some interesting things occurring around the world. And
Mm,
if we choose to be afraid rather than it's perfect,
hmm.
which is a hard one to digest when you know what's happening around the world, but if we sink ourselves into that state, we assist the energy to begin to shift. If we think about the butterfly effect, where the beating of a butterfly wings in China can create tornadoes in Wisconsin, when we think of those type of ramifications of how small, minute things impact the world, then
Hmm.
why not ourselves choosing surrender and love beyond the vibration of fear?
Hmm.
So I thought that was very powerful. I wanted to share that with you guys because, quite frankly, I do think that's the way.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
We had read a little bit, I kind of was thinking about that when you were sharing, Andrea, where it was talking about there is no big or small or yeah. It's not about comparing the size, it's just kind of the action
No.
kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I guess the
But doing
intention behind it.
anything with great love
Mm,
transforms it. And it transforms without you trying to do anything.
yes.
If you have the courage to hold a container of that non-judgmental big love, things change.
Mm,
To see someone who's always complaining and angry and causing problems, to see her open, vulnerable, and beautiful, absolutely beautiful,
That's who she
because her
actually,
heart was showing.
yeah, that's who
It
she
was
actually.
remarkable. It was remarkable. It was miraculous.
mm.
And we're all capable of that, of doing that. We have the keys in our hands, in our minds, in our hearts.
I do think that's the essence of every single person on the planet.
I think you're right.
I think that is the essence.
Yes, even the orange one. It's true.
It's very true.
But I
Hmm.
I thought for a second you might have said the words be still and know,
Mm,
because I think those are powerful words also.
they are
Yeah,
too. Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Beautiful. Thanks, Adria.
Hmm.
yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else want to share their lessons?
I've got one that's not from the book as well. my little post-it that I've had here for a few weeks. It's wisdom tells me I'm nothing. Love tells me I'm everything. Between the two, my life flows.
Mm.
Oh,
Mhm.
read that again. Read that again, Coralie, please.
Wisdom tells me I am nothing. Love tells me I am everything. Between the two, my life flows.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Who
Mm.
is the author of that, Carly?
That is by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj.
How beautiful.
Wisdom tells me I'm nothing. What was the other one?
Love tells me I'm
Love
everything.
tells me I'm everything.
Mm.
Wow.
I
Hmm,
got the rest.
that's beautiful. And
Mm.
between them, my life flows.
Mm.
How beautiful.
Anyone else on their lessons?
Yes, I'll do mine. There is an advantage to bringing nightmares into awareness, but only to teach that they are not real and that anything they contain is meaningless. And I keep reading it, and I think that I practice that all the time anyway. If there's a negative of some sort, you've just got to keep talking about it in your mind. You've just got to keep flipping it so that it becomes a positive. And while there's times when you might verbalize the negative, your brain is constantly going, well, no, we don't have to be a part of that. We don't actually have to bring that into reality. So
Mm.
I do that. When I highlighted it last week for my lesson, I didn't really understand it, but I've just kept reading it, and I think that that's something that I do all the time anyway.
Mm,
Linda,
beautiful.
that almost sounds like something that Byron Katie suggests,
Which is,
which is to reframe. Is it so? Is it
mm,
absolutely?
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm.
And because so often we make these proclamations, and they, they could get us into some hot water, or to get us in
Just not
an
helpful.
unloving kind of way.
mm,
That
Just not helpful.
it's just not helpful, right?
Yeah.
Right. And to challenge, to as you say, to like
Yeah.
flip it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love these little things on the little monkey mind and just asking it, okay, why are we going down this path? Is it helpful? Is it true?
Right.
serving me?
Yeah.
Am I serving others?
Yeah. Have we got
I
everybody?
well, I didn't share
Oh,
mine.
Oh, Jane.
Mine was the same as yours, V.
Mhm.
Um, because I was just so impressed with it. And um, there was an outcome that surprised me on Saturday. I had been experiencing some anxiety for at least a week, and a kind of a depression of sorts, a sadness. And that had to do with a family, actually two family members. But interestingly, I confronted something else on Saturday in kind of a bold way with someone else. And but it was in a loving way, but it was still bold on my part to, challenge and to bring it, let's hold this up and look at it, um and let's question it, and so on. And since then, and I really took a stand on Saturday with somebody very important to me. And my depression, sadness, anxiety, it's gone.
Mm.
So just when I thought, I'm like, well, but wait a minute. I attached my sadness to another situation. And I totally stood up for myself. And, anyways, so it's just interesting how we are as humans, you know. Um, but it would, to me, it does get back to self love and
Mm, definitely.
and conjuring up the love, and sometimes it is being bold and taking a stand and saying, now I care enough to bring this up and let's take a look at this. This is not right. It's not right for either one of us. So, so on and so on. And the outcome was so darn good. So it's like, oh, yay.
Mm. You addressed the elephant in the room.
Yes, I did. And, one bite at a time.
Mm. And
Sometimes
then
I
it turned
think,
into
Jane,
a mouse.
when we draw boundaries, it really is a universal act of self-love and self-care. And so when we do that, it creates movement and it creates a certain level of grace and peace because we're no longer stuffing our truth. We're expounding our truth. And as long as we do that with kindness and an intention to heal, I think it is one of the best things that we could do. Yeah.
I got a full page already. We haven't even
I
gotten
haven't even
started.
started reading. Well, we've got to start reading, hey?
Yeah, might be good.
Okay. Now,
But this is a
where
good share,
are
you
you?
guys. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was. Joe
yeah.
didn't. Is Joe there though? Are you
Joe's,
listening to us,
Joe's,
Joe?
yeah, Joe's there.
He's in
Okay.
the background. He's got messages
Okay.
that he's sending
Okay.
through. Yeah,
Yeah, open up chat and you'll see
Oh,
Joey.
yeah,
good. Good, good, good. Yes.
yeah.
I'm
He's with
glad you're
us.
here, Joe.
Mm. All right. Gary, you're usually the instigator. Do you want to start on number 5?
Me? So here we go. If the way to counteract fear is to reduce the importance of the mind, how can this build ego strength? Such evident inconsistencies account for why no one has really explained what happens in psychotherapy. Boy, isn't that the truth? Nothing really does. Nothing real has happened to the unhealed healer, and we must learn from his own teaching. His ego will always seek to get something from the situation. The unhealed healer, therefore, does not know how to give and consequently cannot share. He cannot correct because he's not working correctly. He believes that it is up to him to teach the patient what is real, although he does not know it himself.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Mm.
It's so hard to know this when you're in it. And I know that's how I used to think. And that's probably why I could never get into A Course in Miracles reading it. And I know I used to think like this. And I wasn't
Mm.
giving and sharing because now I am. And it's like, oh, but it's so hard to, you can't teach anybody else that. They need to they're on their own journey and they'll get to this if it's in their karma to do that. But, it's just so liberating to not be trying to push other people into it. And
Yep.
then somehow it comes out because now I'm sharing.
Good
Yeah.
thing.
Do we have any questions on this paragraph, on this number 5? I thought it was pretty clear myself, but
Hmm.
Any processing going on? I'll just wait for a bit before we move on. No? Everyone good?
Mhm.
Cool. I shall move down a little bit. Who wants to read number 6? Go, Adria. I was hoping your hand would be raised.
What then should happen? When God said, "Let there be light," there was light. Can you find light by analyzing darkness, as the psychotherapist does, or like the theologian, by acknowledging darkness in yourself and looking for a distant light to remove it while emphasizing the distance? Healing is not mysterious. Nothing will change unless it is understood, since light is understanding. A miserable sinner cannot be healed without magic, nor can an unimportant mind esteem itself without magic. Nothing
What
will
do we
change.
mean by that?
Remember, a long time ago, when we first were talking, a different section of the book, it was talking magic is the opposite of miracles.
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's why I'm a little confused here, because nothing will change unless it's understood, but light is understanding. But a miserable sinner cannot be healed without magic, nor can
So
an important
earlier,
mind.
so it's talking about can you find light by analyzing darkness? And the theologian looking at
Mhm.
the distant light, but there's all this darkness to get there. And because
Yeah.
if we all we focus on is the miserable, if all we focus on is all the error in ourselves, or we're focusing on all our issues, then we cannot see the light without magic. But if we just focus and
Oh,
understand the light, that's how I'm reading it anyway. Um,
okay.
yeah, does that help?
That does help, actually.
What is an unimportant mind?
Mind.
I'm kind
One
of
that is
thinking
not
that when
defined by the ego?
they're putting it in inverted commas, I kind of feel like they're saying that's a self. I'm seeing myself as a miserable sinner. I'm seeing myself as an important mind, but it's not
And
actually what they are.
an egoic definition, the ego's definition.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And very interesting, healing is not mysterious, because sometimes it certainly does seem mysterious.
I missed that chapter before that one that might have given me more definition. But that one that Andrea just read out, to me, is the basis of all healing, because I mean I'm going from not the other chapter paragraph,
Yeah.
because with Ian's healing we didn't focus on the ego story, we focused on the immune system only, where beautiful nutritious food from Mother Earth, where light comes into those fruits and vegetables that are organic, are in their purest form possible from her light herself. And we focused on feeding him those nutrients, those lit up fruit and vegetables, the truth of his inner soul reconnecting to him in his own light, without the
Hmm.
focus on light, but we weren't focused on the ego at all.
Welcome, Carly. You snuck
Hello.
in there.
Yes.
So I know that might not be matching the paragraph before, but it's like, where's my focus? Sure, I'm aware of and understanding
Hmm.
where I'm stuck. In this present moment, where's my focus? Okay, it's in this darker side in me,
Hmm.
and I'm choosing the lighter side that is my truth in me. So Ian went from his darker side to his internal side of self appreciation, where the light enters.
And where healing then occurs.
And healing occurred organically because we are already whole, like Gary would say. We are already whole and
Right.
complete. We're already
Right.
healed. We just, our ego side or the two ego sides, chose that in the moment instead of what the truth is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so we're just changing our choice
Hmm.
and re-engaging our own internal light. Sounds so simple, but it is when we action it, when we intend it.
Hmm.
It's so easy to action the opposite with our
Mm,
mind
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and our emotions.
mm.
So it really takes our self-awareness, self-trust, and self-empowerment.
So, Callie, what did Ian have to do besides turning to the light foods?
What did he have to do? He didn't have to do
Yeah.
anything. Oh, sorry. He had to just make the choice.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like I'm talking, we're always in a choice constantly. Internal
Mm-hmm.
choice, internal, external choice going like there's this battle between my inner mind, my inner body choice, my higher self choice. When I say battle, there's this inner conflict that I'm not aware of. I get aware. Where am I in my conflict? And then I've got
Mm-hmm.
always a choice. And I'm choosing my higher self. I'm choosing the light in that moment. Well, a lot of people don't know what the light looks like in that moment. Like we're stuck in all the conflict.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
the simplest things are the light, like the fruit and vegetables that are organic are the light straight from source.
Yeah, it's a very Ayurvedic thing to do to focus on your food when you're eating, not in front of the computer and not
Hmm.
in front of
Hmm.
television, and focusing on, the love that's created the food, and yeah, and then you could absorb all the light from it.
And then that's sort of one layer, but then there's this inner layer of internal choice. Because we already are that. Like I'm always
Mm.
saying, Gary would always say that because he does always say that, even though he's not speaking right now. He would always say we are already that. So basically, we're choosing that over the other choices in the moment internally
Hmm.
and changing our choice of focus.
Got it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the Course in Miracles because it says, healing can happen in an instant.
Yeah.
Really is about the direction and the focus of our minds. It's hard to do when you're afraid and you're exhausted and you're not feeling well and all. It's really hard to do. However, um, I think it's important that we don't focus on feeling well or healed. We focus on feeling at one-ment and grateful. And that rises our vibratory resonance when we are able to think of ourselves as one with the divine every moment and be grateful for whatever experiences we're having. That because the whole point is to rise the vibratory frequency of the cells of our body, and in that, through love, through appreciation and love for God, we rise our vibratory resonance, and then disease can't live in that. And I've done it once or twice in my own body. I've seen other people do it as well. And so I know it's possible. I know it's possible. It's not
Mm.
easy. But the more that we practice what we practice during the week, and I of course did no practice, but the more that we practice during the week, it it literally starts training the mind to turn to the oneness of God. So that's I can wrap my head around what you're sharing, Callie, from I mean, I have to make it practical for me, and that makes it really practical for me.
One of the most incredible healing experiences I've had, which has needed all the background learning that I've received, mostly from Gary, that we were talking about something, and for some reason I came up with the pain that I'd been having in my shoulder and my hip, which wasn't my pain. It made no sense, and nothing was working until I worked out it was actually my mother's pain.
Mm.
And then I did a
Mm.
process, the trauma release process. I did that process on memory of my mum, and the pain went. And it was as simple
Wow.
as that.
Wow.
Wow.
Write me a testimonial on that so people know that I'm not a sham.
Okay, I will. And
Wherever you guys
but
have miracles with the TMRT process, please write me and let me know because I got to collect them.
yes, I will. Um, I'll just make a note to do that. But it also kind of, I was thinking of that as we're reading this as well, because even though you're focused on the healing, it doesn't mean that you completely ignore everything that's caused you to search for that healing.
Right.
But it can change how you see everything you've gone through to get to that point and be grateful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being grateful for it because it was already trying to get your attention because the light was there and it was
Yeah.
already trying to get you aware of the wisdom or whatever you were missing behind your perception so that you could re-engage the light that's already there. So it was just getting your attention.
Getting your attention, I love that. So, hello,
Mm-hmm.
love it.
You know, I really feel pulled to acknowledge Joe on the call because I know if I had been in physical pain for a long time, it would be hard for me to hear me say what I just said. It'd be hard. And, out of deep love and respect for Joe, I know that it's one of the hardest things to do when you're in physical discomfort to try to feel anything different than that.
Mhm.
Um, and so in my heart, and I would support everyone here to do some prayers for Joe that whatever the body is messaging him, that he gets that wisdom so the pain can be released and he can return to a place of balance in the body because prolonged pain wears you down and then you have no energy to do anything of anything. So I just really want to say thank you, Joe, for continuing to come. I know you're in a really difficult point in your journey. It does end, it will release. Um, I don't know what's going to release it, but I would pray for that release and pray for the wisdom that your body is attempting to provide you. I don't know why I want to suggest this, Joe, but I would get on ChatGPT and say I'm experiencing these symptoms and write out all the symptoms you're experiencing and then ask what is the spiritual wisdom or what is the spiritual message from a pain that you and describe it as best as you can that pulsates every 2 seconds or however it pulsates that is in the right side of my head or in the back of my head. It's prolonged. It's lasted for a long time. My background is I've got unresolved issues with this person, this relative. These emotions are present. What is the message that my soul is teaching itself? And see what ChatGPT throws out. Because Chat will generally search everything that's been put into ChatGPT from anyone, and you never know what you will get. And maybe it will be crap, but maybe it'll be really enlightening and give you some insight. So I would suggest that. Okay.
Yeah, we're with you, Joe. We appreciate
Yeah.
you showing up, and we still feel you.
Very much.
And Jill, we love you. And
Mhm.
I don't have any, I don't, not that everyone's not beautiful on the call, but I don't have anyone's hair to envy. So you've got to come back at some point so I can sit in deep envy of your hair.
All right. Do you think we can tackle number 7 in 10 minutes?
Yes,
All right. I'll
absolutely.
read it. Unless someone else wants to read it. I don't see any hands. All right. Both forms of the ego's approach, then, must arrive at an impasse. The characteristic impossible situation to which the ego always leads. Oh, that's the end. It may help someone to point out where he is heading, but the point is lost unless he is also helped to change his direction. The unhealed healer cannot do this for him, since he cannot do it for himself. The only meaningful contribution the healer can make is to present an example of one whose direction has been changed for him and who no longer believes in nightmares of any kind. The light in his mind will therefore answer the questioner, who must decide with God that there is light because he sees it. And by his acknowledgement, the healer knows it is there. That is how perception ultimately is translated into knowledge. The miracle worker begins by perceiving light and translates his perception into sureness by continually extending it and accepting its acknowledgement. Its effects assure him it is there. I don't think we can unpack that in 10 minutes.
Mm, mhm. It's a big one.
I'm even stuck on both forms of the ego's approach. Is that from the previous paragraph, the miserable sinner or the unimportant mind?
I don't know. I couldn't figure that out either.
I like the last part, which is the miracle worker begins by perceiving light and translates his perception into sureness by continually extending it and accepting its acknowledgement. Its effects assure him it is there. So it's almost like when we can't see the light because we're stuck in it. But the light to me is not just light, it is my perception from that higher level of consciousness or a new angle of view. So when you go back and do a past life session, you can look at it from different angles, and you could look at it from 6 different angles and see another layer, another layer, another layer in your genius while you're witnessing the storyline. And so that, to me, that understanding of perception is taking me to the light of the value of it. And then, but it's like a layer at a time. So the person that's holding the space to show the person another level of light is just showing them another higher perspective that they couldn't see before, because that unhooks it, unhooks the pain point, unhooks the disconnect between the value or benefit. I don't want to keep talking. That'll do me. Thank you.
That was good.
Thanks,
I
Scarlett.
loved hearing it.
Thanks, Golly.
So it's sort of like looking from another perspective. Oh, here I go again. Looking from another perspective, another layer of an angle, and then like we can't always see it as we can't always see it ourselves, but when someone else holds space and then they make a reflection, then that helps you unpack it from another layer of your truth, and then you see the other perspective, and that higher angle, all of those little angles eventually get you to the point of the pain point, like Veronica did with her mum. And then that allows the releasing of the energetic energy. We can call it light, but it is vibrational energy releasing from the past. And so then the light has full permission to reclaim itself in that part of you.
Yes. And I think the underlying kind of thing for me and all that is that I had to believe that I could do that. So it's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. So if you can believe it, it will show up. You may not see the light right now, but if you can believe it's there and you feel it in your soul that it's there, it will eventually. And you just have to keep believing. Believe and you will see.
I even find that some of my healing, my psychological healing, as well as my physical healing, comes about when I'm in grief. It's almost like for instance, my a couple of years ago, my dog died. It was a dog that I loved so much, and I was so grief stricken for a couple of days. I was broken, but now understand that the brokenness was I was broken open, so the light could get in, and it did get in, and I felt I felt wonderful because to be broken is to be open. And so, not all pain, physical, psychic pain, it has its benefit. Loss, um, and I marvel at that.
Mm. So the pain was a gift as well.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
It broke me open so much that I I felt love just pouring into me. It was, I was in the most beautiful forgiveness mode. And kind of like Gary, what you alluded to earlier, the boundaries are brought down, and you are simply what you are, and that is the love and the light. And um, yeah, so
Beautiful.
we can be learning it around every corner.
Mm. Yes.
I wanted to share something with the group for Joe. I just did a quick search on ChatGPT, and this is what it says about failing tendons. And I want it recorded so Joe has this recorded in case he doesn't feel capable of writing. When tendons fail, there is no longer the ability to resist movement. Metaphorically, this might mean you're being forced to surrender to a new direction, especially one your spirit has resisted. Spiritually, tendon failure may not be punishment, but initiation, an invitation to loosen the grip of the false self and fall into deeper trust, humility, and embodiment of your soul's truth. So I wanted to share that for you, my brother.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stop sharing so we can see each other and share our lessons for the week.
Okay.
Good
Was
on
that
you.
one that Carly was reading before? The miracle worker begins by perceiving light and translates his perception into sureness by continually extending it and accepting its acknowledgement. What I love about that is the miracle worker could be anyone, anytime,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be us as much as we let it.
Beautiful.
Mm.
I wrote one out, so I'll
Yes.
read what mine was. I've been doing the arrows, and at the end of every line, I say it's perfect, meaning all life is perfect. No judgment, no right, no wrong, no good, no bad. It's all perfect. Whatever it is, it's perfect. So it begins with it's perfect. Be courageous, worthy, and abundant.
Mm-hmm.
That Gary,
So
be courageous.
Worthy
worthy, abundant.
and abundant. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's my focus for this coming week. I'm
Beautiful.
putting it in the middle of my computer at the very top.
Ah.
How did it start again, Gary?
Say again,
What was the beginning of that?
it's perfect, meaning all life, all things, it's perfect. When I do this and I walk around and no matter what happens, I'll go, it's perfect. It takes everything away as far as anything other than it's perfect. It just evaporates. And I'm like, oh, that feels so much better, than to judge it or condemn it or fear it or celebrate it. It's just perfect as it's supposed to be. And it feels much more freeing to view it that way. So,
Beautiful.
okay.
Who else has got their lessons for the week?
I'm going to concentrate on doing small things with enormous love.
Beautiful.
I'm going to concentrate on continuing the feeling and the being of this lovely cocoon that we're in.
Mm.
Carry it with you. Go forth and share.
The definition of light itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I didn't pull anything from quoting anything. I've just kind of come up with have gratitude for the journey.
Mm.
Who else?
I'm just going to go with what Coralie said. Miracle worker anytime.
Like it.
Linda, did you have one?
Yep. So something that Gary said before, focus on being in the oneness and be grateful.
Mm,
We hope you feel
beautiful.
better, Linda.
Thanks. I've actually made a doctor's appointment today. Oh my God, I never do that.
Mm,
Oh.
Surrender.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be really cute.
No, I don't think so.
We can only hope, Linda. We can only hope.
Well, he's a doctor, so no. Nothing cute about doctors.
Uh, and Joe had read ahead and he said in the next paragraph, I think it is, the Holy Spirit is the only therapist.
Mhm. I love it.
Has that everybody? We've covered everybody. Beautiful. Go forth
Okay,
and
gang.
share the light.
See you guys later.
Great week.
Bye,
Bye.
Have a
everyone.
great week, everyone.
Yeah, you
Be good.
too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.